30 years, the History Department has been inviting gifted young scholars into its honors program. Students in this year's distinguished cohort participated in a junior honors colloquium and a senior capstone, followed by an independent study with their advisors to produce an honors thesis. We celebrate these scholars' achievements, and we are proud to have them presenting their research.
Hello there, my name is Benjamin Kallen. My majors are in history and chemistry, and my thesis is titled From Opium to Opioid: How Medicine's Paramount Drug Spiraled Out of Control. My advisor for this project was Dr. Nishani Frazier. My thesis investigates the growth in knowledge of opioid-based drugs throughout history. And it argues that it was in fact this knowledge that was the root cause for the numerous crises involving the drug we see. The approach I took began with learning about how the understanding of opium as a medicine evolved at the end of the ancient era and all the way through post-classical history. I then took this understanding and applied it to two specific case studies within the United States during the 20th century. Both of these case studies saw a time of increased use of opioids, as well as a time where research on the drug, as well as proper medical practices, was being conducted at a rapid rate. My favorite source from my research was a source published in the Glasgow Journal of Medicine in 1916, and it was a review of one of the many so-called cures for opium addiction. This specific cure was one produced by Dr. Alexander Lambert, who was the private physician to Theodore Roosevelt. Not only did this source show to me the dangers that these supposed cures could bring, but it didn't involve any chemicals that would be considered today effective ways to treat opioid use disorder. What I learned was that research was predominantly focused on these cures rather than focusing on effective methods for limiting widespread opium and opioid use at the time. My experience with this source, like all the other experiences I had during the Miami's honors program, allowed me to combine my passion for both science and history as I produced my thesis.
Between 1999 and 2018, over 450,000 people died from opioid overdose. In the late 1990s, the first wave, it resulted from overprescription. Ben seeks to understand the current crisis from a historical framework. First, examining the ways in which opium and then its derivative opioid is used for medicinal purposes, and then bringing us to the 20th century. First, to look at the tension between opioid as a medicinal aid and then the rising concern in the early 1900s of its addictive properties. By the late 20th century, the pharmaceutical companies have begun to commercialize the opioids as a catch-all and a support for medicinal and pain killing. It's this tension between commercialization, medicinal aid, and then concern about addictive properties that Ben seeks to understand from a historical examination to help explain and give evidence of the long trajectory and history of the rise of opioid as a crisis and opioid addiction as a crisis.
Although it was a long and challenging project, the support of Dr. Nishani Frazier, as well as my family and my peers in the honors cohort, allowed me to end the project as a successful endeavor. Thank you very much.